And of course, one is the New Year wishes and the expectations. Remember, we are in 2025, and we have a lot of expectations for this year. We all know 2024 has been hard, a lot of ups and downs, and 2025 now is expected, to come with so many things, positive as well. And our last item, we are repeating on the cholera outbreak. Of course, we need to educate people more about the cholera outbreak. Thank you, my panelists. Once again, I welcome you to this discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To begin our discussion, my dear panelists, what is your take on this year's Christmas and New Year celebrations across South Sudan? Do you see it's more peaceful compared to last year?
Yes.
Al-Hadi.
Let me start with this, Wolmapal. Thank you. Mama Helen is here and Madam is here. All of us have been working during this festival season since the Christmas and the New Year. So this year, if you compare with the years back, I can only say that it's just remind me the year of 2012, 2011, 2010. But 14, 15 is different completely. People celebrated Xmas and New Year peacefully. I can tell you that I'm always coming to the office around 5 in the morning, driving myself alone. From my area, Tiri to iRadio, the whole road congested with people. We have the nature of all the nightclubs and, where people are taking their leisure time is just close to the main road.
Sure.
So from this side of Muniki, Gudele, you'll see a lot of people dancing from night till morning. This is my first time to see that. Despite that, there is no money, there is no salary. People are crying about their salaries. As majority of South Sudanese are civil servants and organized forces. So this is the best one. Peacefully. Yeah, there is some individual issues there, accidents, these are traffic accidents, but it still is the best one in the history of South Sudan since the independence. Why? Because also what I have seen, there is good morale from our brothers from different organized forces that they covered in terms of security very well. They've been around, I remember I called one of my brother, "You're not going with us today?" Say, no, today till morning. So till morning they've been, patrolling the roads of Juba, and then you can just hear the sound of discos, People are just dancing, which is good. And then there is a new, which is a very positive premiere in Juba. People like to decorate the different areas. They'll go to the tailor, get for them these small pieces of clothes. And then they color with the color of the flag of South Sudan. And especially if you go to, this is one of the most places that people celebrate well. And Gudele, P2L, and Haisaura. Very nice, very good, and I hope we'll continue like that. The only wish that people are wishing is we need peace, development, and then, of course, when you have peace and security, development will come automatically. This is what I have seen as a person that, always coming early in the morning from Monday to Friday. And then you can, even yesterday was, today is third, huh? Yesterday was second. Till yesterday we were celebrating. Especially here in Ukraine West. There is a nightclub here.
Full of people.
This nightclub is a local one. But those people are full, even in Tarmac Road. They're dancing. So you're the one to come. So, South Sudan is good to go. But now I think it's good enough. Citizens that show the government that we are ready to have peace and we are ready to participate in building of this nation and building of this country. So I hope we'll have Tumaini to complete the process. Yes.
Yeah,
that was
I just want to, I feel like I want to say something because, like 35%. Sure. If you didn't give me the chance, I'll make it. Yeah. So, like he said, yes, we've been here throughout from Christmas Eve until today. We're still moving on, except with the weekends. And what I've realized that also this year is very unique because it looks to me like interacting with the people on the shows, calling people sometimes from different states and having let me just say no to people. I've been calling women from the different states of South Sudan. You find that it's like they planned what they're going to say.
Yeah.
Imagine someone from Western Equatoria, someone from Greater Bahar al-Ghazal region, someone from Eastern Equatoria. It seems like these women coordinated their messages. It's just one. What does this show? This shows that, you know, we have realized that we are all on the same page. We are all at the same level. Our wish is one. There is one thing that we want, despite the suffering, despite whatever, despite the issue of no money, but we did not even show it to the outside world that we don't have money. I was very happy this year to know that I saw a social media page. You see the youth organizing Midnight Day. We do Karasi Giafa, Hajat decorated.
City.
I was very surprised, and it's the first time I think this year I also stayed. I stayed purposely just to hear the voice of South Sudanese until past midnight, until I'm sure that I was ushered also. I ushered together with the people. Even those playgrounds around my area, I understand my kids were telling me, hey, we had party here. I said, where? I said, wow, this is really good. And no incident happened. Nothing like in the morning, okay, this happened, and this one happened like this. No. It seems like everyone is understanding totally because people have got the same wish. They really want to have a country that is peaceful. They really want to have a country that people can come together to enjoy, and then what? So it is also shows that, you know, whatever the situation, whatever the condition, we are not going to let it go like that to bring us down, you know, for you to say, oh, I don't have this. Even in houses, we'll come to that topic later, but I think it has been very unique because for the first time people are all speaking with one voice. You find the religious leaders, even the government officials, the politicians, and whatever, whoever has message, civil society, the message is just like what it's like a coordinated message. That's what is so unique about it.
That is great. Before I move to Madrama James, Mama Helen, I have one more question for you. Looking at how this Christmas has been celebrated all over the country, do you see there is a contribution by the women, you know, into the success of this Christmas? And
definitely, I think 99.9% contributed by
the way she started lying.
This is the truth, by the way. I'm sure women viewers or whatever.
No, they're selling the cookies. The cookies there at the
because
Baba.
do you know what time women wake up?
But it's very expensive.
What are they doing? They are making legemat. They are making sambusa. They are making chapati. They are making cakes. They are cooking. They are trying by all means to make sure that I do something today to earn more money to make my family happy.
Mama Helen, to be gracious enough, do you think there was also no role played by men?
They did play. You know, the men, even if Gali Jebatom and Fadi, at least they give us an encouraging word. Walai madam, kelana sadita shoya jibude kelana kutu de bejai. If they lend that hand to us, they have played the role. You know, mostly Walma Pal. I don't know if you're married, but you know what? Even the money that we get from our men sometimes does not cover. So we cover it.
She's talking about her generation, by the way.
Things have changed.
But with us, no.
It's happening now, please.
You will have to give Al-Hadi sometimes to respond.
No, she's talking about her generation. But for us, if you don't have money, my friend, no.
You give. What I want to say is just a minute. We complement each other. What he gives, I work on it. I generate more. I do some tijara. So that it's his same money, but I use my mind to increase, to make it to grow, so that everyone can be happy. It means that you also contribute, Al-Hadi.
I think Madama can help on that.
All right, Madrama, I think before you say something on that point, can you share your experience with us about the celebrations for the New Year and how it was? You have been running the Sundown, you know, maybe your callers also might have contributed, of which you have to share with us.
All right, thank you, my colleague Wal. And to add on what Al-Hadi and Mama Helen said, I've gotten the opportunity to interact with officials and at the same time our regular callers. Yeah, and one thing, to be honest, when I went to Juba Teaching Hospital during even Christmas and after the New Year, one of the report that shocked even the in charge of the health facility was that they have not registered any case of gun-related, accidents. for the first time. And what does that one particularly tells us? It means that there's a great improvement in our security sector. And to add on that, if you look at, there was a heavy deployment within the streets. And if you are to look at the personnel that were operating throughout the night, in terms of searching, previous years, they were so hushed, the fount of confiscating, people's property. But this year alone, no one is even bothered to ask either the drivers or cases of Zole Dakal Fijo Betanya Kamhaja was not there. And with my interactions also from midnight to up to 6 with the listeners on air, I realized that in all those locations, like in Wau, in Yambio, in Bor, in where, you hear that the Christmas or the New Year is really peaceful. And we have to, of course, congratulate our law enforcement agencies and the leaders who are behind these people. If we can realize such a great improvement within a shortest period of time, it's good. Now, if we can also have that momentum to really keep this one going, not only for Christmas and New Year, it will be fine, absolutely. And the third one is, I realize it in different countries, in a situation where women turns to be the breadwinners of the family, who will have always a peaceful society. And this year, due to the economic hardship, women have taken, responsibilities to take good care of their families. And I think that's why the men...
Now you're supporting her.
And I think that's why the men became very humble. And if economic situation can humble us, and to the extent we will have peace, to be honest, this should continue.
That's it.
No, Madam, in different ways, right?
Now in this conversation, Madrama seems to be supporting Mama Ellen.
This is a fact.
It's a good take. It's a good input, and I have to really appreciate that. One more question for all of you. What do you think are the South Sudanese expectations or wishes for this year, 2025?
Last year, which is 2024, was really very hard on South Sudanese. You start with there is no salaries, and then the Tumain initiative started well, and people hope for that. Supposed to end also with some gift for South Sudanese, which is signing the peace agreement. It ended up also, there is some issues of consultations. And what we had, I think by next week or the second week of this month, they'll go back again. So the wish that we have been receiving through the calls and through different regular calls of iRadio, people are yearning for peace and security. When you have peace, I'm sure you have good security. And I remember it was when the SPLM signed the Comprehensive Peace Agreement in 2005. In 2007 and 2008, people are just moving freely. All this feeder road within South Sudan, there is not anything there. The only things were the coordination between the regional government of Southern Sudan by then, and then the different NGOs and new energies that working in terms of removing the mine. Those who are doing the mine in different areas. So you can, from here, I remember, you can travel from here to Yei around 10 p.m. at night. You go, after 2 hours, 3 hours, you arrive there. The same thing with Maridi, the same thing with Bor. But now it's not easy for you to access some of the areas due to insecurity. So our people, they're very simple. The only thing they're demanding from the government that, sign a peace deal and allow us to go and cultivate and bring our goods, to the market. And then from there, we can also participate in the national economy of the country in terms of building the nation, in terms of taking our kids to the schools. This is what they're asking for. This is what they're requesting for. But if you look at the general situation in the country, we still facing a lot of difficulties in terms of how the country itself can get the money for the whole budget of the country. So we hope that the calls of our people will be answered. People always believe in God, will be answered by God, and then things should be okay in this year of 2025.
We hope so.
Yeah.
Mama Helen, do you have a take on that? Any other expectations apart from peace?
I would say yes, like he said, peace is paramount. And then people have also been calling about the issue of the salary. It keeps on coming up, even women, everyone. Some are saying, just give us this money, even if it is little, we'll know how to manage it. But it has to be consistent. Not like you pay 1 month, I stay for another month. Yes, we know it is small, but give it to us on time. This one also comes up very much. And the issue of agriculture, because people really feel like the issue of unemployment. Now, if we have good security in the countryside, and then if the infrastructure, the roads are really good, people will be able to go back into the villages knowing that they will go. But some are saying that they are even afraid because you don't know, the bushes now contain elements that are hostile, especially to women. So they will really feel like the environment, the situation should be like before, whereby you can even go into the bush, you can go and fetch water, you can go and do anything without fear. And then for those even who are cultivating, they are also mentioning like, okay, we need good roads, because if we don't have good roads, even if we go deep, there is security, we go and cultivate. How do we get our produce to the market? This is also a big issue. So these are the things people have been looking into. They really wish that it will happen this year. And the issue of unity and love, forgiveness, it also, all these things are very important elements in our life. When people unanimously speak of something, bring it up like that, it means that there is something missing, so we have to look at it. Where is it? What is your resolution for this year? What did you do badly last year? How do you want to change this year? So these are the things, the voices of the people matter, because when you listen to them, I think you'll be a great country.
All right. Quickly to add on what Mama Helen and Aladi said, the state where we are in now, it is like a state of confinement. We are just squeezed in a certain corner. And if you are to look even during the struggles, there are some other states within South Sudan. In terms of food security, you not talked about it. They are producing enough,
the like of
food.
Western Equatoria.
Yeah, Western Equatoria. You talked of even this Magui and some other neighboring states.
Eastern Equatoria.
Yeah. But now the question is, what happened? We have the independence, but we are still importing. Someone even said yesterday, even Shetta from East Africa, from Uganda, from Kenya, even these green pepper.
Even tomatoes.
Tomatoes. What's happening? So the issue is, some of the citizens are calling for disarmament, because it's one of the reasons or driving factors for our insecurity. Most of the societies are well armed, and in such a situation, even if you want to go and cut or burn your charcoals, you are killed. If you want to take some goods, let's say from here up to Warap, you are either attacked or looted. We have seen that happening with even some of the humanitarian organizations who are delivering service to the needy. They are still failing. So even here in Lanya, same thing happening. In Morobo, where part of South Sudan, it's happening. So the issue is, let these people who are holding firearms illegally, they have to be disarmed. Then the rest of the things will flow. So these are some of the aspirations and hope of South Sudanese. If all goes well in 2025, they would really like to see this happen.
Thank you.
Well, Mapal, just something came up.
Yes,
A couple of callers mentioned that is also very important for the development of a nation. About this issue of unemployment, we know that we have a lot of challenges, a lot of things are still lacking behind. But I think the point they made was very important, because they say that, for example, now the youth are crying, they don't have employment, there are no opportunities for job. Most people who are looking at the white collar job is not there. But some mentioned the example, I just have to bring it up, because when we were in Sudan, when the country was one, most of our people here survived on industries. Do you know their parents were here, they don't have relatives or whatever, they were able to support themselves through what they do. They have industries, they have the factory for biscuits, the one for soap, the one for flour. This is where the young people went and worked, and then during the daytime they go to the university or whatever to pursue their education. So some a couple of callers were mentioning, like, if we have such industries here in the country, it would help or solve this issue of the maybe even groups or the unemployment, the youth being redundant, sitting under trees. Because unless if you are lazy, then you will say that I cannot go and work in a factory.
It's actually a good take, Mama Helen, and that point also now contributes to the peace factor, because if we have peace and stability in the country, then now it will not be hard again for the investors to come into the country with their factories or with their industries, and that will be able actually to create jobs, to the youth. I appreciate all of you for your inputs, especially on the expectations of South Sudanese for the year 2025. Al-Hadi, you have had an exclusive interview yesterday with the IGP,
yes,
where you talked much about the reforms of the police service, the National Police Service. Can you share more with us of that interview?
Yeah, he mentioned more than 3 elements which is very important, for him to work on them and then to reform the police. Especially now, he said for the whole time they discover that what they're doing, they're just giving the service to the police without serving the people. How? Because it's just taking care of your forces. Previously give them salaries. When they are sick, those generals take them out, take them to India, Egypt, Nairobi. You give money out, but there is no any service there to your people. What they discover now, they have to do some process of phasing out some of the elderly generals.
Officers.
Yes. Try to make a process of pension, take them to the pension, and then from there, you promote the youngest one to come up. This one. Number 2, also there is the issue of productivity. You make your forces to produce food for themselves, and this food can be sell out
instead of depending entirely on
salary. Yes. So I think we can remember that prison service has been doing this thing in different areas of South Sudan, especially in these areas of Western Equatoria, Eastern Equatoria. Prison service, they have number of farms there. So with General Abraham Manyuat, it was very clear to me. He said, this is the plan that we are doing, and then I'm sure we'll succeed with it. But there is a question also one of the listeners said this morning. How can you do that, and then the same police forces is feeding itself from the government money, from the Minister of Finance? And don't have money.
This is also the question I was going to ask.
Yes.
How is he going to get the capacity? Where is he going to get the capacity, actually?
According to him, is a plan. They'll move on with it. They'll present it, I think, to the Council of Ministers.
So it's a long-term plan?
Yeah, it's a long-term plan.
Okay.
So the other things is think about how can have community policing. If you look at the country now, there is some issues of these sectors. So in the sectors, you'll get the joint operation. Sometimes you'll get the commander. It's not from the police. The commander is from the SSPDF or wildlife. At the same time, we're talking about laws. So automatically, this Criminal Act of 2008 is talking about the police, how police can handle them. But now, this way, a lot of issues start between the community and then the sectors. You'll find that the general who is there is from the army. He doesn't know anything about the laws of the Criminal Act of 2008.
Police.
So he will act like, he's doing his job. But they tend to be like, doing something else. So for him, they want to move in that way of doing the community policing, bring people together, train them, and then you enforce them. And then you talk about the training itself, about the ethics of the laws, about how, can you deal with human rights issues for the police forces. And then you move them also from place. A police officer cannot stay more than 2 years in one place. Especially like if you have
has to be transferred.
At this police station of Muniki, you can stay there for 2 years. So there is a lot of things. To me, if you look at the comments of the people, social media is a good move, and I think people knows him very well. This Abraham Manyot is one of the officers. This guy described him when they say that. Gishlak is a place that is the house where the police all stay together. That means his father or his grandfather was an officer, and then they learned a lot of things from there. He went to the police college in Khartoum, and then he graduated from there. So I look at it like, okay, police is always a partner to the people, to provide service of the legal procedures always, if there is anything happen to the community. So that means, gradually things will go well, and then we'll see what will happen. Because now we always depending on joint operation. Joint operation, which is headed by the IC department there in Buluk. They're the one now in charge for these sectors. They divided Juba to 6 sectors. These sectors are the one handling the small cases that are happening from time to time within the residential area and Juba town. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Al-Hadi Awari. And if you are just joining us now live on iRadio's page, this is Around South Sudan, a program that comes to you every Friday at 2 p.m. And I am the official host for today, sitting in for the Super Memo. I am Walma Pal, and I'm joined by 3 panelists. Of course, they are all iRadio's broadcast journalists. This is Al-Hadi Awari, here is Mama Helen Samuel, and here is also Madrama James. We have 2 items in our program for today. One is about the expectations of South Sudanese for the new year, 2025. And the second item, which is the last one, is about the cholera outbreak that has been affecting the country. And the good news is that cholera vaccines or cholera prevention vaccines are in the country, and the government now have started to dispatch them to the spotlights. We'll talk about that shortly. And now to you, Madrama James. You are at Juba Teaching Hospital a day after Christmas and after the New Year. Can you share with us what you found?
All right. Thank you, once again. Indeed, on after Christmas and after New Year, I went to Juba Teaching Hospital to have a general look at the public hospital. And one thing I've realized during this festivity, there was a lot of accidents rates that have been recorded compared to even last year. Last year, if you take a look at the statistic, it was 115 accidents. 115. But this year, it has gone to 210. Despite the medical director saying there is no any other gun-related, incidences recorded. But now, take a look at that 210 registered in interval of 2 days. Now, if you look at the facility alone, they have a very small room, and to the extent some of these wounded patients are sleeping on the floor.
We're just lying on the ground.
Lying on the floor. And we South Sudanese, we have this perception like if anything happened to Al-Hadi and I know him, instead of maybe calling him and say, Males wal kafara, I have to go there in person.
Yeah.
And as such, one person, the relative, can be either 7 or 10, or sometimes even the whole clan, according to the medical director. Now that way, it creates the environment to be really unconducive to the person who is nursing the wound, and even to doctors to perform their work efficiently. That's one. Number 2, if you look at the staffing, yes, we have some health personnel who are deployed there either daytime or at night. But it's still having 210 patients in one department, it was really overwhelming. And
the in outpatient department?
It is accident and emergency department. And these are the same staffs who did not even receive some of their salaries for almost a year.
Yeah.
Handling this situation for only 1 year, for that's a new year. It was really overwhelming. They look so tired, no motivation, and a lot of, work that, and even some of the consumable goods that were provided by the partners and even the Ministry of Health. It was not enough. You talked of candula, you talked of some of these drip, was not really enough because the patients that were there to really turn out to be in a big number. Then if you also look at the perceptions of the relatives of those patients, they expect good services. But where does these good services come from? If you look at the funding to particularly Ministry of Health, it is one of the lowest funding ministry in East Africa. Low budget given, meaning you can't really give a small budget and expect someone to perform to
deliver the service.
And as such, there was some other misunderstanding between the patients or their relative with the hospital. They crucifying the health personnel who are delivering service. This place is not giving for us the services we want, and a lot of accusations, and others who have their family members injured. They want immediate service to be delivered, and as such it was really a tough time. And finally, to conclude with, I also realized in the main facility there was lack of water. Now imagine someone having blood, someone who is nursing wound, and someone who looks so tired and wants maybe to have a clean hygiene. And this is a facility that's supposed to talk about health.
Yes.
You see?
Educate people about it.
Yeah, if water becomes now a main issue, what do you think the impact of this?
Yeah, it wasn't the situation.
It really wasn't the situation. And finally, when we talked of electricity also, the electricity at Juba Teaching Hospital is really unstable. And we have some babies, we have some patients who are under that intensive unit care. I see oxygen.
Not to cut you short, Barama. By the way, there is, I remember it was 2 days ago in the beginning of this week, when I hosted the Undersecretary Minister of Health. She said for them to work toward, this cholera issue, they're facing issue of sectoral coordination. And this is what they're facing in South Sudan. Some countries, if you go, there is an agreement between the Council of Ministers of the country, and then churches, mosques, hospitals, police stations, in terms of the issue of the power. They'll give them power, the tariff of the power they're giving them, the unit, is the same like domestic one of the house. Or they'll say, okay, this is the only referral hospital we have in Juba Teaching Hospital. The power that they're giving, they only pay 40 or 30%. But the main issue now in this country, you cannot get, this to subsidize the, there's some things just subsidize to people. But also the same thing, I'm sure they're getting the power through like this issue of black market that they have in South Sudan. This institution like this one, and then the only referral hospital in the country, they're supposed to take care of it. So that means there is a lack of coordination between the different institutions in the country, because this one is supposed to be, the Minister of Interior, the Minister of Health, plus the Minister of Electricity, headed by this guy, Peter Marcello. But now, if you go to Juba Teaching Hospital, I think you'll come and mention this one. Some babies are dying because there is no power. You see? At the same time, we're getting support from UNICEF, from WHO, from these different Oxfam, helping some, if you go to this department, Juba Teaching Hospital, you have gynecology, and then you have, this one is called
obstetrics.
No, for kids. This department.
Pediatrics.
They're okay. But it's still, I can give you 30% and then you complete 70%. It's not there. So you can continue.
Yeah. So the biggest concern here is the issue of water and power. Why are we not really prioritizing the public facilities? Now, if you look at the statistic given to me at the Department of Gynecology, that in case of any power blackout, one like this, they are likely to lose two babies. And this is at their department. Now, assuming there are also patients who are also going through operations, and women who cannot really have that normal delivery, sometimes they go under C-sections, that's cesareans. What do you think will happen? So these are some of the concerns. If not really taken into actions, it will really cause a lot of harms. And looking at that huge population, if power cuts out at night, what do you think will happen to them? So these are some of the environment I've really observed, and some of the challenges and the aspirations. If this can really improve, I think we are good to go.
Thank you very much, Madrama James. My dear viewer, this is Madrama James talking about the challenges that are facing our teaching hospital, that is the Juba Teaching Hospital in the capital, Juba, of course. And Juba Teaching Hospital is one of the populated hospital in the country that is hosting most of the patients. He has talked about the power that is now an issue. He has also talked about water. And these are the main issues, of course. Mama Helen, you want to pose one question to you before we move to another discussion. Are there any reports of domestic violence or gender-based violence reported in any part of the country during the New Year celebration? And if so, what do you think communities should do to minimize such practices?
GBV, gender-based violence, domestic violence. This is something that...
There is no violence, man. We're okay.
He's not gender sensitive.
I think his home was peaceful, so we cannot assume that everyone's home was peaceful.
But for you, not all.
Not all. I wouldn't say that. Okay, maybe there are specific or individual cases that has happened. Of course, anything that has not come to our notice, we will not know about it. And also, if it is like in my area, then I may know someone has fought someone. But these days, I think even when we women are being beaten, we don't cry out. Very few, unless if we fight with someone. So you cannot witness unless if someone tells you.
No, you guys are the one beating us.
You see, anyway, it is both ways. Domestic violence is both ways.
You mentioned it very clearly. So, they don't have money.
For those around the country, I'm sure it has been happening, but unrecorded. Or we have not been informed, or have not had time to go out into the community and have this shamarat. Because when I go now, I will start knowing who has beaten who or what has happened in these areas.
Yes, I can remember vividly. We have reported, cases of gender-based violence.
To that. Okay. Why are you rushing there?
Michael is the one doing that.
Okay, leave
Michael Daniel.
Okay, I rest my case.
You better rest your
case. It will help me when I leave out something. So I was just talking generally because where you said whether it has been reported. Of course, it has happened. I'm sure it happened, but these could be informal in individual homes which we don't know about. But those ones that have come to our notice, and I think our audience and also the listener have been able to understand, is the case that happened I'll just have to look at it. The report of a 12-year-old girl who was raped by a 38-year-old man in Awil East County in northern Bahr el Ghazal state. This happened on the 26th of last month. Okay, this was what came to us officially, and it was reported by the spokesperson of the police. And then we had the case of a 31-year-old woman who was beaten to death by her husband in Gogrial West County of Warab State, okay, which also happened like on the same date. So we don't know the reasons, but it happened. The suspects are said to have been apprehended. And then we had the issue of the stories that we've run on our media, from Eastern Equatoria, whereby a businesswoman was actually on her way to the market to sell her goods. Then she was assaulted by almost 8 men. Then she was, according to the to the commissioner, she was robbed, she was raped, and she was murdered. And then one of the suspects is in custody actually, but the investigation, or they are still looking for the rest of the criminals or the culprits. This is what has officially come to our notice. Other cases could be there. We don't know. Maybe we'll get the information sometimes late, but these are what has been reported officially.
Helen, all these, what do you think the community should do to minimize these practices? In 2 minutes, so that we go for a short break.
The community have to report. Without reporting, we will not know that such things are happening. And the community also have to be supportive to the survivor, because survivors always have that, the community thinks that we cannot report because of our prestige. So we should forget about that. If anything like that happens, whether it is in your home, in your neighbors or wherever, report. That's the first thing. Because in a case of rape, the survivor can be helped. You can be taken to the hospital. If there is any diseases, the person who raped you is sick or whatever, or there is unwanted pregnancy, it can be handled at that specific time. Instead of leaving the survivor there to live her life in trauma. She will not forget. She will need counselors. She will need a lot of things. So it's very important for the community to report cases, but not to hide it under the bed.
Thank you very much, Mama Helen Samuel, for that clarification on the GBV reports during the Christmas and the New Year festive. My dear viewer, once again, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're watching us. This is Around South Sudan, live on iRadio, your go-to podcast that comes to you every Friday at exactly 2 p.m. We are now going for a short break, and we shall be right back for the cholera outbreak in the country.
Welcome to Around South Sudan. You go to podcast for the stories that shape our nation. Each week we explore the most impactful headlines that are shaping the narrative in South Sudan. We delve into issues related to national development, peace building, politics, culture and economics. To stay informed and engaged, tune into Around South Sudan and be part of the conversation that matters. Subscribe now and join us for the stories that connect us all. Together, let's explore the heart of South Sudan. Welcome to Around South Sudan. You go to podcast for the stories that shape our nation. Each week we explore the most impactful headlines that are shaping the narrative in South Sudan. We delve into issues related to national development, peace building, politics, culture and economics. To stay informed and engaged, tune into Around South Sudan and be part of the conversation that matters. Subscribe now and join us for the stories that connect us all. Together, let's explore the heart of South Sudan. Welcome to Around South Sudan. You go to podcast for the stories that shape our nation. Each week we explore the most impactful headlines that are shaping the narrative in South Sudan. We delve into issues related to national development, peace building, politics, culture and economics. To stay informed and engaged, tune into Around South Sudan and be part of the conversation that matters. Subscribe now and join us for the stories that connect.
That short break. Now moving on with our discussion. Of course, this is Al-Hadi Awari, and here is Mama Helen Samuel, and on my other side is Madrama James. They are all broadcast journalists for iRadio, and they are my official panelists for today. We have talked in our first discussion one item, that was the Christmas wishes, the New Year expectations for the 2025 by South Sudanese. And we have shared a lot of things from there. Now we are going to talk about the cholera outbreak, which is a major topic in the country. What is the latest update on the cholera outbreak in the country, Hadi?
We were happy that one of the deadly places that Unity State received this, I think, morning, more than 250,000 doses of cholera vaccines. And we hope that things will move on and we'll receive another 2 million, also more than 2.1 million. Those also from, according to the statement of the Secretary, Dr. Harriet Pasquale. And also we'll continue with, to raise awareness to our people that to understand how, to avoid this cholera in different areas that, like if you go to Northern Bargazal now, I've been hearing about also there is some cases there. So it's good enough also. There is help from these UN agencies and from different international NGOs to help our government here so that they can move on and then things will be okay. It's really very, very sad that we're losing people in this time of that we have in South Sudan. A lot of difficulties in terms of financial. If you go to POC, it's good enough.
they will be able to get the information much more easier. Yes, the effort is moving on, but without our own help as a community, also making sure that we implement the preventive measures, it will still be very difficult and hard. Because if you move in some areas, you're talking about cholera, but people are still. I was somewhere just after leaving work from here. This is here in Juba anyway. With everything, they just came, hands were not washed, they used this one water for washing, children were eating. This is very
All right. Now, also to add on that,
yes, Madam.
If you take a look at the response to mitigate the cholera cases here in our country, it is somehow very poor. I've moved during the outbreak of cholera in more special parts of Upper Nile, and it's quite different with us here. You know, in central Equatoria, places are not flooded, but those ends, I'm telling you, some other places you cannot even use a motorbike. You cannot even foot or trek. You have to use motorboats. Meaning that most of our communities at Upper Nile regions, they are submerged in water. And this gives up a chance for cholera now to, really spread quickly. Now, what are some of the approaches they are supposed to do? One, Mama Helen said, we need supposed to have a talking environment. Pictorials, this is what's happening, and it comes back to our people. Cholera, it's a preventable disease.
Yeah.
And if we have that perception, girl, African germs are weak, this is where now the whole issue will intensify. But if we really have that fear that, cholera is deadly, and if it is not cured within shortest period of time, it can kill, then we'll all not leave the responsibility to the health authorities, but we'll take it, okay, this is our collective responsibilities, let's wash our hands, let's keep the hygiene, and let's do something. Now, if we step up that, then areas where there are no radios, there are no access to media, will have the opportunity now to, reduce the cases of cholera. But everything, to me, it's really slow.
Thank you very much. Alhadi, do you have any other thing to share before we end our program?
There is, to me, there is a major role should be played by the Sheikh Al-Hilla. Especially in Juba here, if you're looking at our people, like Mama Helen mentioned, whenever you go to this such kind of social gathering, we're supposed to recognize ourselves in terms of how to sit, in terms of how to eat. But sometimes we're facing difficulties in terms of how to do that. So in different areas, like if you go to POC is for IDPs. But this thing, when it started there, it was really very bad. Because they're always calling and reporting the number of the deaths is always increasing every day. Till they came with the vaccines and they went there, they mitigate the disease. And I think from there they improved their hygiene. Now things are okay. The other thing we're facing in South Sudan, the issue of the toilets. Majority of the people don't have toilets in their houses. No, they're helping themselves, with surrounded area that the bushy areas that we have. Also, I think Minister of Health, in collaboration with the Minister of Environment, they have to help us on that also. So that we can send messages outside to the people that, I remember when we were kids in Juba, the same thing happening here. There is no, people don't have toilets in their houses. Till one of the NGOs came, and then they start doing motivation to people. When you dig toilet, they'll give you food, they'll give you money. And then they'll come and do everything for you. So from there, the culture started to spread, and then people, now somehow we're okay, but with the expansion of the town, we have to work also good in that. And I think from there, we can try to also have some interviews with the State Minister of Health, headed by this Madam Honorable Nejwa Juma Mursal. I think by next week we need to get her, and then we can interview her and ask what is the the plans and all those kind of things. Because with these efforts now, I'm sure this cholera will go, but still there is another related hygiene disease. We need to
pop up.
Yeah, we
Can
need
I
to
take it up
yes.
from
Yes, yes.
I just want to add something. This is for the partners and also for the government. I'm thinking, we know that once in a while such things will happen. It would be important if we have places like the POCs and then these other areas. It is important for us to have health education programs, and adult education sessions in those areas. Because I remember one time when people came from Khartoum, they were put up here at Way Station. So I even went there and had some interviews and that. So like once or twice in a week, the health partners will come in with health education. These are some of the things, because if you prepare people in advance, it's much more better. Now when cholera comes like this, already these people will have what? Some information, some background information. Even in the adult education sector, by then when I went there, you find young children, elderly men, people above 50, they are learning, which is very important. Education is the key also.
Thank you very much. And that brings us to the end of our discussion for today on Around South Sudan. Of course, we have covered what happened during the Christmas festive, the expectations of the public, especially South Sudanese, about the new year 2025. And we have also talked lastly about the cholera outbreak in the country. Thank you to my guest, Al-Hadi Awari. Thank you so much for joining, for coming all along. Thank you so much, Mama Helen Samuel as well. And thank you so much, Madrama James.
Pleasure.
For all your insights and for sharing and for making this discussion a wonderful one. And to you, my viewers, also, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you had an informative conversation, and we also hope to have you in the next session next week, hopefully. Join us again next time, of course, and I've been your host, Walma Paul, sitting in for La Suba Memo. Thank you and have a blessed time.
To podcast for the stories that shape our nation. Each week we explore the most impactful headlines that are shaping the narrative in South Sudan. We delve into issues related to national development, peace building, politics, culture,